Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Tips and Tricks Weekly. It's another one of our Vegas memory shows, and we're running out of, well, memory. We're also running out of memories. Today we're going to talk about the year 2021, which was a pretty epic year in Vegas. Actually, the last several years have been pretty epic years in Vegas. Yeah, we're in the car. We're, trying not to disturb the wife while she rests up. And hey, y'all love the car videos, don't you? Let me know. Comments below if you love the car videos. The sound actually is pretty good in here, so there you go. Or at least that's what PJ tells me. Hey, PJ. All right, I think we're 57 days away from Las Vegas, which is pretty exciting. That's just over 8 weeks. But at the same time, I'm also only about 8 weeks away from turning 60, which is kind of a big deal. So, less than 60 days to Vegas. In about 60 days, the only thing that I'll have that's less than 60 is my IQ. But anyway, I was going to try to get this video out earlier. Spent some time yesterday afternoon trying to put it together. And one of the things I wanted to do, I realized for 2021 at least, I could go back and kind of look at my vlogs. And so I spent like a couple of hours yesterday afternoon actually going through and watching the vlogs. And so that was kind of cool, but I ended up using up a lot of the time that I was going to spend actually making the video. So that's why it's a little bit delayed. And that's why those of you who are still members of the channel, and you should not go ahead and unmember me. Okay. I can't stop you, but anyway. But yeah, I've been I usually try to get these out Friday night, but just didn't work out. And so here we are. The other thing I realized after looking at the 2021 shows is that, or trips, is that this might be longer than a 15-minute video. We'll see how it goes, but it was a pretty epic year. Hopefully this year will be a pretty epic year. Certainly looking forward to the trip coming up. Couple of notes along those lines. I have pretty much decided I'm actually going to do a vlog in September of some sort. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but it is going to be a sort of Matt Bridger, Mark Anderson style, play as you go, live vlog, I guess you would say, of some sort. Like I said, it was really fun looking at some of the videos from 2021. And I realized that, I don't just make these videos because I want you all to see them. I make them because it's kind of fun to revisit things and remember things that don't always stick in your head. So that's number one. Number two is next week we are going to be producing this video. I am committing to it right here. Committing to producing this video on on my Final Cut Pro app on the iPad. So I was going to do that this week as well, but and part of the reason that I didn't end up doing the video yesterday was there was a bit of a learning curve there. And so but next Saturday will be our first video using Final Cut Pro. So we'll see how that goes. Again, as I say, there will be a learning curve, so we'll see how it goes. It's getting really warm in the car, so I'm going to open the door. There you go. Very refreshing. So there you go. We're probably going to do a vlog in September of some sort of live vlog, and we will be doing our show next week on Final Cut Pro. Okay, so we took 2 trips in 2021. Pretty good, just like it was pretty good in 2020 because it was the year of COVID. In 2021, COVID was still a thing, definitely. And so I made 2 trips, one of them in February and one of them in September. The one in September was to attend the inaugural Mark Temper. And it was quite an epic trip. But let's go ahead and start with our February trip. The first 2 nights, I was there 5 nights from February 21st to February 26th. And the first 2 nights I stayed downtown at the Plaza and got in, reasonably early. Had some dinner, I think, over at Circa, if I remember correctly. Had a good deal on a, basic room at Plaza. It was not one of the luxe rooms, but it was 2 nights. It was decent. I was fairly happy with it. And to my surprise, about halfway through my evening, and I think I was playing over at Downtown Grand, I got a message from Ace of Vegas saying, "Hey, are you at the Plaza?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm probably going to head back that way." And he was like, "Well, I am." Okay, didn't realize Ace of Vegas was going to be a part of our trip. So we spent the next several hours wandering around downtown, playing, having a few drinks, having a good time. It was a good night. Met up with a few friends of Ace's, and Ace has friends everywhere. So, and they were cool. Yeah, so we ended up down at Elko for a while, I know, and what I had hoped would be kind of a short night turned into a pretty long one. The next day was really kind of my only sort of solo day on the trip. And some of you may remember it was the day that I decided I was going to try the 3 major pizza places downtown at the Plaza, Pizza Rock, and then Evil Pie. So I did that throughout the day. My conclusion, if anybody you remember, was that Evil Pie actually had the best pizza. I would still say that Pizza Rock is the best place to go for a meal because they also have some other food stuffs there that are really good, the meatballs, etc. But I loved Evil Pie. The next day I moved over to Delano, and the next couple of days were pretty crazy. I ended up meeting up with several folks over the next couple of days. I know one of those was supposed to meet Mike Nebaker up at Stage Door, which I think was the first time I had ever been there. And Ace was going to show up as well at some point, although he kept being delayed. But for the first time in my life, and I don't know if it's the first time ever officially, we got keynoted. That's right, Kino Kid and Kino Candy showed up. We weren't expecting them to be there, but they showed up. And so we hung out with them. I had some decent video poker hits, drank a few beers, had a hot dog. It was a good run. And we ended up that night, as I recall, and it was a very chilly night. We made our way eventually over to Cosmopolitan, where we went up to Steph's room, Vegas to Cali. Check out her channel if you haven't. And we're able to spend some time up there as well. Great view always, and a lot of fun there. So that was a big night. And then the last night I was in town, I actually stayed at the Wynn. I had one night that I had booked through the app. Man, it was fine, and it was definitely a kind of a laid-back day where I was like very happy to be kind of done with all the excitement of the previous 3 or 4 days. But yeah, we had a good time. Met up several people for the first time. I met Destiny on that trip. And Mike Nebaker, obviously. The other thing that happened on that trip that I neglected to mention, I did actually end up going to lunch one afternoon with Steph, Vegas to Cali, and her daughter. And we went to Jessie Ray's Barbecue, which I understand was quite good. I understand burned down a while ago. I didn't follow up on that when I was getting ready to do the show, but at the very least, they had a lot of fire damage. So that's unfortunate. It was really good barbecue. That's from someone who spent over 40 years in the Kansas City area, and as a result, I officially know barbecue. Yeah, I don't know. That's what people in New York say about pizza. So, okay, there's something weird on the screen here. There we go. Got it off. All right. Well, if you thought the February trip was something, then you didn't hear anything about Mark Timber 1. And boy, it was a crazy trip. If you remember, it was kind of centered around our Four Horsemen trip, which was my buddy PJ, Anastas, Ryan, Mark, Pennies, myself. And so we met up that first night, and the first night for me was the 1st of September. I was actually in town for 7 nights. First 2 at the Cromwell, which worked out pretty well. Got in that evening, and then made my way just a block and a half up the street, I guess, to the east, and met up with the boys at Stage Door. And Stage Door would be a big part of the trip for at least the next, the next 4 nights as well. We ended up there basically every night. And there were a couple of nights I was there pretty much until sunrise. And those, to be honest, were not the best choices I've ever made in my life. And we'll talk about that going forward. But so, yeah, that first night we did run into a few other people. I remember Daniel Ocean wanted to take us to Carnival Court. And by the time we got there, they were closed. But we did hang out at Harrah's and Casino Royale, I guess, for a while. It was also the first time that I met my bestie, Liz, Mark's wife. I'd met Mark the previous October for Rocktober, but I had not yet met Liz. And so we had a great time, and I think most evenings we definitely spent time together. The second day, September the 2nd, I had got tickets to a UNLV football game, basically just because we wanted to see Allegiant Stadium, and that was a very price conscious way to do it, because not a lot of people go to the UNLV football games. So we went up there, myself, PJ, and Ryan. Mark did not go with us. We stayed, I guess, for the first half. I don't know if we watched any of the second half. The first half, there were like 3 points scored, and then it went into like overtime, and they ended up scoring like 70 some points in the second half. So, of course, we missed out on that. But it was fun seeing Allegiant. I walked around Allegiant, took some great video there, and as part of the great debacle of September 5th/6th, I lost some of that footage. So, never happened, but it was a good time. The following day, the 3rd of September, I guess, right? 3rd of September? I believe that was the day that we all went to Circus, and we had ate at the steakhouse, which, again, was Mark and Liz, myself, PJ, and Ryan. We all went up there because, you always hear about this place. It's like kind of this, I don't know, sort of bucket list sort of place. And so we did eat there. It was pretty expensive. It was solid. It's a good place to eat. But I mean, I haven't tried to go back. So, definitely check it out if you're interested in a fairly good value steakhouse in Las Vegas. It was a pretty good experience. And then, of course, we made our way downtown. At which point we knew they were coming, so we didn't really get keynote this time, but we keynoted the Kenos. We spent some time at Bar Canada and hung out there. I remember us going, I think, to Circa, to Golden Nugget, and then eventually someone, probably me, had the bad idea of going back to Stage Door, which I guess we did. Yeah. So... and so it was a very late night, as I recall. I actually ended up at Stage Door the previous night, making my way back to Cromwell. I went over there and was there very late. And that day I moved over to Aria. We also spent a little bit of time that afternoon at Resorts World. It's actually the only time I've ever been there. And it was fine. But yeah, we went downtown and did our thing, and then eventually made our way back to Stage Door. And I think that was the night that Ryan and I stayed up all night at Stage Door. So, yeah. Also participated, I think it was that first day, might have been the second day actually, that I participated in a group pull with the Slot Gypsies where we hit like a very large jackpot, which was pretty darn cool. I think they won like a $5,600 major or something. And so we all split that money, those of us who had participated. So that was pretty cool. We made our way on the 5th, I guess. I don't remember that much about the 4th. But on the 5th, we made our way back to Ellis Island. We had been there on the 2nd, actually. Several of us. We did Mark did a group pull. But we went back on the 5th for Mark Timber and hung out there at the front lawn, front porch, whatever they call that thing. None of us had ever been there before, but pretty cool. Actually, we were there the year before. I shouldn't say that. We were there for Rocktober. But so yeah, that was a good time. We had a cake, and there was a lot of drinking involved. And ultimately, yes, we wandered back to Stage Door. And this was the night the infamous night of the lost shoe. Things got very blurry, very late. And I'm not proud of it, but it happened. The curious thing is I'm wearing the pair of shoes that I bought. Here's the sort of follow-up, I guess. I'm still wearing the pair of shoes that I bought at Dillard's at Fashion Show Mall a couple of days later, because I think I spent like $50 on the shoes, which is a lot more than I usually spend on shoes, and it was like half price. But they seem like nice shoes, and yeah, I mean, they're finally just about worn out 22 months later. So, and I have a job where I basically walk 7-8 miles a day. So these shoes have taken a beating over the course of the last couple of years, and but they've been great. So the last couple of days of my trip, the 6th and 7th, I kept a pretty low profile. I checked into Encore, really liked the place. Just kind of needed some detox, some recovery time. One of the interesting things that happened on this trip, and I guess a very interesting thing that happened on this trip, I had been talking off and on to the woman who is now my wife, Caitlin. And on the night, I guess, of the 6th, we started chatting that evening after I got back to my room, and basically spent the entire night chatting with each other and getting to know each other. And really that night was kind of the beginning of our relationship. And of course, here we are. Our anniversary is coming up on Tuesday. So that's pretty exciting. So whatever debacles took place on this trip, and there were plenty, at the same time, it was definitely was unforgettable, and a trip that has had long-lasting consequences on my life, mostly positive. So, all right. If you remember Mark Timber 2021 and I forgot something important, let me know. I think I did. I can't really remember what we did on the 4th, and I watched those videos yesterday, but I guess it was nothing as epic as what we did on some of the other days. But yeah, let me know if you were at Mark Timber 2021, what you did, what you remember about it. And we're just, again, a little over 8 weeks away from, well, we'll call it Mark Timber 3, John Timber 1. And it's going to be pretty exciting. Very much looking forward to it. You know, anytime you can make it back to Vegas, it is a great time. So, all right, I'm going to let you go. We'll be back on Wednesday with another Vegas Tips and Tricks show. I think it's number 87. May have some information coming up soon on what's going to be replacing Vegas Tips and Tricks once we reach 100 episodes. So we'll be letting you know about that here over the next couple of weeks. We'll probably do a live stream sometime in maybe the end of this month. I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date on that. And we'll be back next Saturday with another episode of Vegas Tips and Tricks Weekly. And until then, hope you have a great, lucky, and healthy week. See you all again real soon. Bye-bye.